How we doing? This is Fox back again for sound design tutorials. I've got a request today. Started off like a request but turned out something different. I'm still going to give this chap credit. It is Ramazan Mirik. I hope I pronounced that right. He wanted me to recreate the bass from this track, Croatia Squad, Drop That Skirt, and it's the Frey remix. I did do that with Massive. For some reason I then kept on playing with it until I got something different, which I was more happy with. It's a new disco bass. It's got a real sort of gritty guitar-y edge to it. So similar to the one that the chap recommended, but nowhere near enough for me to say that it is how I have actually done his request. So I'm going to give him credit for giving me the idea. I might go ahead and recreate the actual patch that he wanted exactly, but I'm quite sure some of you lot that are doing these, want these requests, want some same-ish but a bit different. So yeah, this is my take on a new disco bass following the MIDI of that Croatia Squad track. So this is it on its own. With a sub layer and drums. I'm really getting into this new disco stuff. I like it a lot more than a deep house in general. It's a lot more fun, a lot more funky. You can have a lot more variation in the sounds than what you can a deep house bass. That's what made me want to try and progress this sound and make it a bit more funky. So where we're getting that funky edge from is the virtual analog waveforms. This pulse to VA sync or pulse to source sync. This is the one that really makes the sound. Without this oscillator, the sound is very dull. Also, this sync oscillator in modulating the intensity as well really helps to sculpt this sound the way that we've got it. So I'm just going to solo this patch for now. I'm going to initialize it. New sound. That's what you get, as always, a bog standard saw wave. We're going to pitch this oscillator down 2 octaves. If you hold Alt, drag it down in the semitone box, it does it in full octaves, so -24. It was the virtual analog section, and it was the saw to PWM. The wavetable position, we'll sweep it round. I changed it from saw. Dulled it down quite a lot, so it was around about 11 o'clock. Pulse width was middle-ish. Amp on full, and we're only going to route this to filter 1, so push it all the way up. I do some different routering with a filter on this, and that's the versatility of Massive. You can send one oscillator to one filter, one oscillator to the other, or have a mixture of both, and then you can also mix the output coming out of those filters later on, which I do. Oscillator 2, click it, turn it on. This one is another VA one. It's the pulse to source sync. This one is a lot different in tone. We're going to press Alt, drag it down 2 octaves also, -24. You're thinking, what? I've just pulled that down 2 octaves. It's all about this sync. You sweep this to the left, the tone gets a lot deeper. Brilliant for these sort of raspy new disco basses. That's where I had it on about 8 o'clock. Amp on full again. This one wants to be sent to both filter 1 and 2. Leave it how it is, dead center. We're going to send the signal to both filters. Oscillator 3. This one was sync. I forget which one it is in, if I'm honest. Screamer electric crude. I thought it was in the analog electric. Oh my god, I'm having a brain freeze. Acid, groan. Electric screamer, dirty needle, dirty throat, strontium. Hard sync. That's at the top of the analog electric. Pitch this one down 1 octave as well. 2. Intensity starting position, we have about 2 o'clock. We're going to modulate this later on. Amp on full. This one only to filter 2. Okay, I use one envelope to do all the modulation in the oscillator section. I'm going to set up the mod oscillator first. I'll use this to modulate the phase of oscillator 2. I pitched it down 1 octave again. This all added sort of that electric guitar-y sort of bass sound that I ended up going for. Nice raspy distorted sound. Okay, so the envelope I used for all the modulation on this was envelope 3. I had the attack on dead 0, so it was instant attack. Sustain level on dead 0. I did all the work with the decay knob. It was a real plucky, real quick envelope. Round about there. Probably have to play with that again in a minute to get it how I want it. Say there's good to start. Push the release up. Tiny bit more release. Not that it's going to have much effect. So yeah, we use this to modulate the pitch of oscillator 1 and 2. This is going to give us a sort of plucky sort of stab at the start of the sound. So drag it. First modulation box for the pitch of oscillator 1 and 2. Pitch both of these up 1 octave. I offset them slightly from each other. This one was at 0.7. This one was at 0.05. Just tells it, give it a bit of stab at the start of the sound. Also use this envelope to modulate the intensity of oscillator 3, the hard sync one. It's positive all the way as far as it can go. And the phase of this mod oscillator. See, too much decay, it sustains all the modulation too long and really destroys the sound. Just how all those really was just helping give us a bit of punch at the start of the sounds. So a bit of feedback I used, we'll go back to that in a bit because we haven't set the filters up yet. Also in the voicing section, I believe I used that same envelope. Yeah, so we're going to give it 8 voices unison. This is unusual for a bass patch. We are going to turn the pitch cutoff on and the wavetable position as well. Just move the wavetable position slightly. And we're going to modulate the pitch cutoff, the spreading of the pitch of the new unison voices with that envelope. Because it's so fast, you're only going to hear the wideness at the start of the notes. It just helps make it sound even more punchy. I'll show you what it sounds like as I bring it in. Just add into that punch sound again. Trigger on always polyphonic. Yes, we have done. So the filter section we're going to go to now. Set the main envelope up actually. I'll give the main amp envelope a bit of pluck as well. Instant start. Sustain level on 0. Release where it comes as standard. The decay dead center. Notes are too long for a new disco bass. Most of the notes in the MIDI clip are quite short and attacky. So pull decay down till it sounds as you want it. There you go, lovely. So the filters, we've got oscillator 1 going only into filter 1, oscillator 2 going into both, and oscillator 3 going into filter 2. So the filter 1 is a low pass 2 filter, as always. We're going to use an envelope to close this filter up not like that at all, but you can get the gist. The way we do this is opposite to the plucky sort of one that we had. We want a nice a fast attack time. So you want to sustain level on full. Keep the release where it is. We'll assign this to the cutoff, tell it how far we want it to close up. Not all the way, we want to keep some of the subby notes coming through. And then we'll play with the attack time till it sounds right. That squelchy sound, sorry, was because the resonance was too high. We're going to modulate that with an envelope in a second once we get this how we want it. So that's it, pretty good. Two ways of creating a sort of snappy envelope. You can either tell it which way you want it to go and tell the attack time how long you want it to take, or you can tell it how you want it to go the other way and have the decay dictate how long it takes to close back. Two exactly similar ways. One's controlled by the attack, one's controlled by the decay. As this envelope is a lot snappier, I want to use this for the resonance for this. About 11 o'clock on a clock dial. So yeah, it's all sounding good. We need to make sure there is a blend between series and parallel. This is nice as well. Not going to hear any difference until I bring in this second filter, so we'll set that up now. This one is a low pass 4. It's a lot steeper than the last one. Turn the volume of the filter up. The mix between 1 and 2 needs to be equal. Whatever's going into the filters, we need the same amount of volume coming out, and it gets mixed together before it goes into the effects section. We're going to use another envelope for this. This one was identical to the amp envelope actually, so we can use that. So envelope 4 on the cutoff, open it all the way around. Pull it back slightly just to stop that hissing of the real high notes. So I'll show you what happens if we switch between series and parallel now. If you're doing parallel, it's some reason it loses a bit of its tonal quality. In series or serial, it's going into filter 1, into filter 2, but also we're having a bit of the dry sort of parallel signal coming through as well. So as we mix it two together, you sort of get the best of both worlds. Not too dull, not too crisp. So I think we're pretty much there. I didn't use any warp mode on oscillator 3. We need to do the feedback. Turn the feedback on. I had the feedback on filter 1 and only about 9-10 o'clock. So it's just the effects to deal with now. I didn't use any insert effects. I tried a bit of distortion earlier on. Didn't really add anything to the sound. The feedback was sort of grittying it up as much as I wanted. The effects I chose was in 1 was a telly tube. Drive down to about 10 o'clock. Dry wet, we'll feed it in until it gets to a point where we're happy. Again, 10 o'clock seemed to be good for me. It wasn't so much that it was overpowering, but enough to sort of help fizz a bit of the higher aspects of the sound. Dimension expander. This one really brings the sound together now in FX2. And I don't usually use this on basses, but see what happens. Just pushes everything a bit wider, makes it feel more of the spectrum, makes it sound a lot deeper. Turn the EQ on, boost the lows, cut the highs ever so slightly. So that is it. I mean, it looked like there was a lot going on, but it's pretty much just 2 envelopes plus the amp envelope once we're setting up doing all the work. I tried to flick the dimension expander in and out, but it wasn't giving me the effect that I wanted, so I ended up turning the modulation off that. Didn't do anything in the oscillator section. Key tracking, voicing we covered. So yeah, we're done. Didn't sound deep enough for me when I was comparing it to the original. There was definitely a sub-layer. As I say, I know I haven't copied the original exactly, but there was definitely a sub-layer in that. So I used one of my bog standard subs that I create all the time. Mixed it together. I should group them together actually. Compress them with an SSL. And all in with the drums. Very good, love it. Love this new disco stuff. I'm going to start making a lot more basses. Send me in your new disco stuff rather than deep house now. I'm getting bored of making deep house basses with silent. They all sound the same to me. They're a piece of cake, square wave and a saw wave. If you've made one, you've made them all. These new disco ones, there's a lot more variance and a lot more fun you can have sort of making the sound gritty. As always, make sure you subscribe if you've enjoyed this or you have enjoyed any of my other tutorials. Subscribe up here. Got a lot of stuff going on at the minute. Nemesis Soundbank is about to drop in a week or two. Me and Trolls have been drafted in by Tone 2 specifically to make an electro soundbank for them. Watch out for that. If you've got Nemesis, I suggest you head over there and keep your eye out for the pack. It'll be coming out, I'll say, in a couple of weeks. Also, my virus course is still running on ADSR. If you want to learn how to use a virus, get on there, sign up to their subscription. If you don't want to do that, the course is going to be sold in its entirety when it's finished. I haven't worked out a price yet, but it's definitely going to be worth it. I've done 5 episodes and I'm on about 4 hours or so, I think. So it's going to be probably 9 hours by the time I'm done. Just talking about how to use a virus. So yeah, waffling on. Thanks for watching. Cheers.